Okay, yo, salute y'all. How y'all feeling? So first of all, shout out to all the love that I'm getting on my last post. Some of y'all took it out of context. My wife is fine, and I tell her often. All right, I think you all just took it out of context, and what I was really doing was answering the question that another guy had, which was, what do you do when you no longer find yourself attracted to your spouse? And I was letting him know that there are some things within him and his heart that he may have to look at first. Some of y'all thought I was saying that meant that the wife or the spouse was no longer attractive. That's not what I was saying. But go back, take a listen. But I want to address this comment right here, because I am, it definitely saddens me a little bit to see this. And I'm only going to speak from a place where I've experienced. I think there are some psychologists or therapists that have gotten degrees, and they may be able to tell you differently. But I've been married to my wife 16 years. We've been together 20 years. And I'm going to speak from that experience. This right here, you want to get out of this state as fast as you possibly can, because this is a check engine light that is on in your marriage. When you get to the point where you all are like feeling like roommates, meaning you're no longer courting each other, you're no longer flirting with each other, you're no longer having those intimate conversations, you're no longer reconciling or planning out dates or trips or hugging or kissing, just any of those things is a red flag. But here's the thing that we have to look at in this, and these are key things, foundational things that I know we had to look at in our marriage to get over this point. Because there was a point where you get caught up in the motion, not emotion, but the motion of just, you here, I'm here, I'm doing my day to day. If I see you, I see you. And there wasn't any effort taken to pursue one another. Pursuit. And so somebody was like, marriage is not that hard. It's just simple. You do what you're supposed to do. It's like, no, marriage is intentional. There's intentional behavior that it takes to keep a marriage strong and fiery. There's intentional behavior that you have to do. It doesn't just happen because you say we married, now all of a sudden like this peace and this joy and this, oh my God, I just love you so much, I just desire you so much. That's the movies. That if you want that in your marriage, you have to create that intentionally every single day. You have to choose your spouse every single day. So you have to choose to compliment every single day. You have to choose to forgive every single day. You have to choose to hug every single day. You have to choose to plan a date and plan romantic outings and validate all of those things. You have to choose it every single day. You have to choose certain sacrifices every single day. You have to choose to go with them on a journey that you may not want to go on every single day. You have to choose it. So here's some foundational things I want you to look at. One, you have to look at each other's love languages. Physical touch is not my wife's love language, but it is mine. So one of the things that I had to have a conversation, when we had a conversation, I'm like, babe, here's some things that I like that help me to feel loved by you or seen by you mainly. I'm like, I love hugs in the morning. Like little 7-8 second hugs, all of those things. I love it when when I just finish working or doing something, and I love being able to come and lay on your lap and you rub my head. I love that. Okay? I love being able to, when I walk past you, if you good with it, I love being able to rub your butt. I love it. And she said like, okay, but just don't grab this or don't do this. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Because then she was like, it makes me feel like I'm being groped. Okay, cool. But you cool with the butt rub? Yes. Bet. So I'm saying this to say that part of us being roommates is because I wasn't getting something that I desired which was this physical touch, and not just necessarily sex, but physical touch, period. So instead of just saying, well, I'm gonna hold this in and build up this resentment, I'm gonna have a conversation with you and say, hey, here's something that I'm missing in our marriage. Like, can you meet me here? And she's like, I for sure can meet you there. Here's a boundary that I will want to set with that. Okay, I respect that. And now I know daily that I don't have to necessarily ask for this hug or kiss. It's a part of what we said we were gonna do, right? Some of y'all like, if you have to ask if you gotta ask your spouse for a hug and kiss and all that stuff, then she may not be attracted to you. If that's your opinion, cool. But I'm telling you, physical touch is not her thing. And we can get into the abuse she experienced as a kid and the reason why, but I'm not trying to solve that problem. I'm focused on the fact that, hey, here's something that I want. As well as I'm gonna do the same for her. Because the reason why she may be walking around, we're feeling like roommates, because I'm not meeting a need for her. But the best thing we can do, and as the man, I'm gonna do it first, is I'm gonna go to her and reconcile. And I'm gonna figure out what's happening, what's going on, and how can I serve you better? What is missing that we are walking past each other and we're no longer intimate? All right. The second thing that I would say to you after understanding each other's love languages and seeing if you're providing that. Second thing is we have to continue to learn our spouses. What I learned is that I no longer felt supported in certain things. My wife no longer felt supported. And first of all, my ego, I'm like, girl, I support you. What you talking about? I learned that my wife had started to really heavily get into politics. I'm not necessarily into politics like that. But here's the thing we have to understand about our spouse is that over the years, this is not the same person you married. They're gonna constantly change. And by that, I mean, they've increased their relationship with God. So they're changing because of how they see God and the relationship they have with God. That's constantly having us change, right? All right, y'all go back out. That's constantly increasing change, right? Or they've read different books, they listen to different podcasts, they have social media where there's a level of influence there. They've had babies, they've lost weight, they've gained weight, they've, finished school, they got a master's, they got a PhD. There are things that are literally changing how your spouse thinks and responds to the world. This is not the same person that you married. They've increased their thinking, or maybe a tragedy happened that has caused them to feel certain things, anxiety, depression. There's something that has shifted. What we now have to do is re-engage this person that we are now with. So for me, my wife was like, babe, I want to make some signs and protest this thing. I was like, whoa, protesting? When did we start protesting? What's going on here? Okay. And I had to make the decision like, okay, man, this is something that has now become a value for you. So instead of being dismissive towards it, I want to explore it. Okay, what do you need from me? Now, I'm not about to do the same research you do, but I will go vote when you're saying we need to vote. I will go out here and hold this sign with you and all these things and support you. I think this is important in a marriage to truly understand that your spouse is shifting, and you should have check-ins where you start to learn, do you still think the same? Do you still care about this thing? Do you still value this thing? Or how has your values increased or decreased in this area? How has your opinion on these things changed? Because now you start to learn the person and you start to learn who they're becoming, all right? Instead of old data. You're operating off old data. That's who they used to be. And so you're now frustrated because they're not that anymore. I'll do another video for the other one because I'm at 10 minutes with this. This is crazy. All right. All right. Salute.